Okay, thanks for being here at the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. I'm working on some shirt designs, and I'm open to some ideas as well if you guys want to talk about it later on.
For the meetup?
For the meetup, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So today's quote of the week is, the way I did it, every job was an A+. That's Steve Wozniak talking. Really good YouTube videos on Steve Wozniak. Also, I Was is a fantastic book. It's a great book to read. It's IWOZ. Really good book. So some upcoming meetups. So we have, the next few are going to be, the next one's on test flight, and that's app testing on multiple devices. Shay's using that. And then the meetup after that is going to be submitting your app to Apple. So just kind of coming up with a checklist before you submit, and maybe some gotchas that other people have run into.
So John can come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of us
Yeah.
gone to certain gotchas.
Yeah.
What did you like about the book?
Which book?
I'm sorry, Jay. I just cut you off.
No worries. Which
Oh,
book?
about I Was? He's a really, like, I find that Steve Jobs is like Walter Isaacson's, he's the biographer who did the Steve Jobs book, right? He's very particular about the way that he describes things, but in the I Was book, it's just very, like, he's such a humanitarian kind of vibe to him. It's just really, it's wonderful. Yeah. It's a really good book. It's really fun, yeah. All right, today's pro tip is Shift plus Command plus F, and this is for, let's say that you're in a file. So I'm gonna bring up a file project right now, and I'll make it big so you can see the command, comma, presentation. Let's say that you want to find all the instances of maybe the word name in your file, in the whole project.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a Command C to copy, and in order to find it, I could find it just in this file by doing Command F. So we get this up here, and I can just paste it in and find all the instances of name, right? So it goes through. But what if I want to find it in all the files inside the project? Well, I would use Shift Command F. So it brings it up here, and then I can look for name, and then it'll find all instances of names inside this entire project. So it's really helpful to kind of jump through. I'll go back over to the write-up. So there are two different ways to get to that find in all. There's Shift plus Command plus F, or you can do a Command 3. I've been using these Command 1, 2, and 3, and 4 extensively in my projects. Let's say that I come into maybe an error, and I'm going to build just to get that compiler error right here. And let's say that you know me, I like to zoom in, yeah?
Yeah.
But let's say that I don't want to zoom out. What I can do is I can press Command 4, and that'll take me to a write-up of all of the errors in the project. So I'm going to Command 4. It comes up in the side right here.
Yeah, I did that.
You can list it out. It's really helpful. I like that one. And then the last piece I want to share is that searching, sometimes it's difficult to find something when you can only search forward. So one of the feedback on that is, let's say that you want to run backward in your search. I'm going to do a find, look for a name, and I'm going to use Command G right
What's
now.
up, Tony?
Hello.
How's life?
I'm going to use Command G to move forward.
iOS meetup.
Oh, this is us right here.
It's us. Cool.
Right on. Hey, how are you going? How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Ooh, AirPod. Those things are hard to get.
Hey, what's your name? David.
Jody. Just
Jody.
joined last week, a few days ago.
Oh,
Okay.
right on.
Jay,
Jody.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're just sharing the, so Jody, you can just have a seat anywhere. We're streaming it, so there's a mic on right now on YouTube. Feel free to sit anywhere. We're going through the keyboard shortcut of the day. We've done a quote already, and then after this, we're going to go into introductions. So everyone's going to introduce themselves. Okay, so we left off, we want to just do a search for name. I'm doing Command F, and I'm finding name, yeah? It's moving forward, but let's say that I got too far forward, I want to go backward.
Oh, I see.
So if we want to search forward, we can do Command G. And then what do you guys think? Just anybody have a guess for how to search backward?
Command B.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome, but it's Shift Command G.
Oh,
So you can go backward with this.
I see.
So that's helpful.
Okay.
Okay, so we just went over the keyboard shortcut of the week, the pro tip of the week.
I like this scroll back.
And then some housekeeping. So Jody, it's your first time here. We're the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. Any communications just for the good of the group, just keep it all on the Meetup page. And if you ever needed to get in touch with me, if you have an emergency, I can give you my phone number later on. Last bit of two pieces of housekeeping are we're very lucky to have our meetup here at the HICapacity Makerspace. If you're interested in becoming a member, there's a website right there for membership. And the final piece of housekeeping, if you have to use the bathroom, it's out this way and to the right.
Get a
And
key.
there's a lanyard with a key right there in the black one. Okay, any questions before we move on? Okay, so again, I want to share my awesome tools that I love, my free tools. Spectacleapp.com is a fantastic window manager. So I'm holding Command Option, and I'm moving my screen without even touching the mouse. So I use this all the time. I can move stuff on the side. It's pretty great. So that was Spectacle App. The next is we're actually using Screen Hero right now. So I'm sharing my screen and actually control with my keyboard and my mouse with Jesse's account right here that we're streaming. So if you're ever interested in pair programming, we would use Screen Hero to pair program. Again, it's a free piece of software. If you're interested in getting an invite, because it's a closed beta, they just got bought by Slack, please give me your email address and I'll send you an invite you can share with all your friends.
I'm slacking off. Sorry.
Okay, so we just went over the quote of the week, upcoming meetups on test flight and submitting your app to Apple, covered a pro tip, did the housekeeping, shared the free tools, and then the agenda for tonight is we're going to do introductions, and then you can feel free to participate in any or all of the following. You can contribute to tonight's discussion on Sprite Kit with physics and multi-peer connectivity, or you can pair program or just talk story. So here we go into the introductions. Does anyone want to go first? I'm happy to go first too.
Okay.
My name is David Neely. I am originally from Hawaii. Currently working on like a Box 2D application. I've made a lot of progress on it this week, so it'll be really fun to showcase it. Right now, I'm stuck on multi-peer connectivity. Like that was the kind of the meeting that we were going to have today. Does everyone kind of know what that is? Multi-peer connectivity?
I've seen code without using Wi-Fi, like through Bluetooth or.
Yeah. So, Jody, you're able to communicate between 2 devices or up to 7 devices without any kind of internet connection. So, device-to-device communications. Very helpful. And I'm looking forward to using it for some games without any need for an internet. I'm a little stuck on the code, so I'll be showing what I have so far, but maybe we can discuss too. And then I also just want to put it on your radar that tonight I got to cap it at 7 o'clock exactly because I got to head out. So.
You have to do some stuff.
I have. I'm going to the Anderson Paak show at the Republic tonight.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good show.
Okay, no wonder.
Just want to get going on that one, but
What is that about?
it's a I'm not sure what state he's from, but it's like kind of like a funk kind of live music at Republic. Should be fun. Yeah.
Oh, have fun.
Thanks.
Where's the Republic at?
Republic's right outside. You know where the old Empress used to be? Or I'm sorry,
By-
not Empress, Ala Moana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's that building.
Yeah,
before.
across.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, across the way.
Okay.
It's a really nice venue. They might still have tickets if you guys want to go. I
Nah.
think they're $35 a piece.
Nah,
I'll be
thanks.
there. Shows probably starts around 8:30.
Okay.
Not too late of a show. And then I'm just finishing up. Right now, I'm interested in outside of programming and computers. I guess just music. Still kind of just into music. I was playing guitar a little bit earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me. Anybody else want to go next?
I'll go.
Oh, Jody.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
let's let Jody go first.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jody Bro, by the way. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. Little background: I'm in the military right now. I'm Navy. Been in for about three and 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be getting out in like 90 days and possibly going to UH. Hope that I can get into San Francisco and maybe go to a community college and build up credits and hopefully transfer over to USC or Stanford.
Cool.
Cool.
What I'm working on now, I kind of just finished up with this app.
Mm-hmm.
It's a military app. It's called Dog Tags app,
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and it's
so-
basically Facebook for the military.
Right.
So we're able to find other military in a safe way. We're able to find other military members within all bases,
I see.
jobs, pay grades, male, female, location, and stuff like that. And we've also been able to get Australians and Canadian military members to, take a look at it and also join up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that big just yet. I think we have about 2,000 users.
Nice.
But, that's pretty cool. I have no coding experience, by the way. I was able to get this app off the ground. I'm sort of like a Steve Jobs. I have a lot of good ideas, very innovative, but I just don't have an outlet to get those ideas to use without having to pay, 10 grand.
Yeah.
So
I see.
right. So
No worries.
that's what I'm working on now, and I guess that's what I'm stuck on, not being able, not possessing the skills to get those ideas out into the world and get those products to the people.
Right.
So right, currently I'm working on I've been studying a little bit of Swift.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Is that the Big Nerd Ranch?
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
It's a good
pretty
book.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I'm learning about what was it again? Types, constants, variables, switches, if-else statements.
Okay.
Really early in the book, but I'm working on that right now. I plan on working on Java right after that. Then do some SQL work,
Right.
a little bit of PHP, and then hopefully get good enough to go ahead and build the Android version of dog tags. And if not, just start throwing some baby apps out there,
Right.
for people to use and
Right.
check out.
Right.
What do you want to learn? So that's what I want to learn more about. A lot of languages.
Good.
And interested in besides programming and computers. So this new game just came out. I'm sure you guys know about it. If you guys are gamers, I'm not, but it was
Not
just,
much of a gamer, but go on.
I'm not a gamer, but I saw it. It's a new game. It's called Ghost Recon Wildlands. Pretty good, pretty cool game. So I've been spending some time playing that game.
Oh, I see. First-person shooters.
Yeah.
Not into that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, thanks for being here, Joe.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm Che. I've been I was developer since 2010, 2011. Yeah, I've worked with Swift from the very first all the way to current. I still have to look at 3.1, but I'm working on a major project that was written from the ground up with Swift, from the very beginning, from the very first version to the. So a lot of migration and issues and stuff like that. But I didn't use all the features, but I'm getting a handle of it. And it's like, for me, it's working with Swift is like working with it's like writing a scripting language, but you can actually compile it. That's my real, and it's cleaner.
It's very clean.
Yeah, it's made, and of course you can make it as terse as you want, but been working on it for about 3 years so far on the language, including its various iterations and looking at the changes. In fact, I had to migrate some of the code, but the app I'm working on is a energy efficiency app called EcoCube, and we're in the process of gearing up for launch very soon. We're gonna do a limited beta and build it up. And I can't talk too much because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, but
Can I ask you a question, Jay?
Go for it.
So your limited beta, are you going to use test flight for your limited beta?
Exactly.
Okay. You guys know what test flight is?
Yeah.
Maybe you could explain it to Tyler. Okay.
It's basically you wanna it's a way of inviting certain people to test your beta to either internal or up to now 2,000 external users.
So John was
but you have to do it by invitation, so you don't release the code in public. Basically, it's a way to have limited groups of people where you can control, so that.
So you're on the App Store, and then TestFlight controls the distribution?
Yes.
Or you download the app from TestFlight?
Actually, you have to get a TestFlight app, and then you get updates. That's how I do it. There's a meetup. We're going to talk about TestFlight next week. We'll cover more details.
So we'll be doing research all week to prepare for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. We're gonna use it. I just have to fix some bugs.
It sounds like Jody, you had some experience with test flight.
No, I'm thinking of something.
Oh, okay.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
Before it gets out.
Yeah, you can do internal tester or external, but you have to invite them so they can give you feedback.
I see.
So that
control.
Yeah, so that you just don't release buggy products on the public. Right. That's not a good thing.
I had big issues with that.
Yeah.
Big issues.
Yeah, so it's a good idea to test out with limited people, group of users. They give feedback, and then when it's ready, after you clean it up, then you can submit after. The test flight requirements, they still have to go to a review, but not as stringent as the full review.
Did Apple buy test flight?
Yes.
Okay. Before it used to be a separate company.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they found it so useful. Why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Like I said, some companies are so useful that they become things like But the thing about it is, so that's what I've been working on, Swift, and it's a fully mobile
What's the name? Did you say HICapacity?
EcoCube.
Oh, HICapacity.
I call it other things, but I'm not gonna say. But no, we were making fun of stuff. But it's a energy efficiency app. So we have ed tech. Of course, there's more to it, which I can't discuss yet. But yeah, I've been working on this for 3 years, all in Swift.
And you do it all on your iPad?
No, I
Your
use
computer?
yes, but some of the critical pieces I actually use Swift playgrounds to test. I've been using Xcode playgrounds as well as the playgrounds in Swift 2 to do some beta testing. You know, testing critical portions before I put in, and because the thing is like several hundred files, so if I have to fix, I gotta rebuild. It can take minutes.
And it's Xcode 8 too.
Yeah.
Your introduction longer. So you're developing this thing for 3 years. So are you going like from Swift and then, oh my gosh, I have to do Swift 2 and you convert everything and then you're now in Swift 3?
Yeah. No, there was some migration, but I kind of knew about these migration. I'll talk more about that in the future. Okay. But generally, do it by pieces.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because otherwise a big headache. But it happens.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Tyler, John?
Oh, yeah. So I'm Tyler Aratani. I'm here. So I'm not really working on anything iOS related because I don't have a Mac. So I'm just here to like learn about Swift, and then like maybe later I'll get a Mac and I can start making apps.
Sounds good. Cool.
And then I don't really have any interests besides programming at computers.
Are you a gamer, Tyler?
Yeah.
Oh, what's your favorite game?
Right now, I'm trying Paragon right now.
I'm unfamiliar with that one.
It's like made by Epic. It's like you know what MOBAs are? Like League of Legends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like the third-person version of it made by people from Unreal Tournament.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's called Paragon.
Yeah, it's free. So.
Oh, nice. Cool. Write that down. Okay, thanks, Tyler. Joanne, did you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Joanne, and I'm originally from the North Shore. I live in Honolulu now. I'll say something different. I lived in California and Virginia.
Oh, nice.
And what am I working on now? I'm working on actually juggling a fairly new job. I guess as a dev, it takes a few years to get ramped up. This is kind of like a late life career change.
Is this the Windows testing stuff?
So I'm
or?
struggling, yeah. And but I really, I enjoy. I'm a code slut. I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's the same thing. I'm pretty much stuck on juggling that, and it's not my first choice for development. But so that's partly why I'm here.
You got a break from Windows?
Yeah.
Nice.
I took I love being on Mac. I took a break from I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay. What do you want to know more about? Okay, I'm open to whatever, your topics are pretty interesting. So, besides computers, because I'm ramping up, computers are kind of my life. So, mostly programming. So I have other interests too. I also attend the Python Meetup, and I see there's an R one coming up. And the reason I'm doing that is that I have an interest in data science.
Oh, nice.
Oh, me too. In fact, our app will involve large amounts of data. That's all I can say.
It's hard to not.
Yeah.
Now, like even your car app, I was thinking about it. It'd be really interesting if you could detect the terrain coming up, and then the car. I mean, it pretty much take you out of the equation where you wouldn't have to go gas.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the fun in that, right?
Yeah. Would you guys be interested in TensorFlow for iOS?
What's that?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna use TensorFlow at some point.
It's Google's open source machine learning technology.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Oh, by the way, me and my friend, I'm gonna build a massive TensorFlow, machines.
Oh, nice. You mean massive, like size wise? Wow.
maybe 10 NVIDIA, well, at least clusters of 2x2 NVIDIA GPUs. Just do, because I'm going to be doing a lot of, with our app, I can say we're going to be doing a lot of CNN, convolutional neural networks, and TensorFlow is awesome for that.
I've dipped in a few times. I still don't really get it completely, but it's definitely something
It's
I'd
called
like to.
pattern recognition.
And it's going to be huge. I mean, it's already huge, and it's going to be huge for the next 5, 10 years, 15, 20. So I would love to push it in this meetup.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
machine learning. Yeah,
Do you need to know like linear algebra or anything to understand?
I don't really know.
Actually,
Yeah.
to learn the details, statistics, calculus, and linear algebra, to learn the full gory details.
I mean, sometimes you can know what the formulas do, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe that would be one chance where I would be able to lean on either of you to maybe prepare a presentation on TensorFlow and iOS.
Are you delegating?
That'd be great. Yeah,
I
I'd love
wouldn't
to.
You know, no, we need to.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for your introductions.
I was going to use TensorFlow at some point anyway, so
Are there any questions before we head into topics for tonight?
let's go tonight.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick time check just to kind of figure out how fast we got to go through this or how.
6:24.
slow. Okay, so we got about half an hour. I'm just gonna rip through it. I'm gonna go. I think the most interesting thing right now is gonna be the randomly generated cars. I'm gonna go from the top with Sprite Kit. Did you have a question, Jody? No. Okay. And then I'm gonna loop back around and talk about multi-peer connectivity framework. And then finally, I want to talk about Scene Kit. I met up with my dad. We had coffee. It was his birthday. He had an idea. He's like, Dave, I got a good idea. I was like, what is it? He's like, dominoes. I was like, okay, let's make some dominoes in iOS. So you can line them up and you can just flick them down. So we'll be switching over from Scene. I'm sorry, this should be Sprite Kit. Oh no, that's the right one. So we're going to switch from Sprite Kit, which is the 2D gaming platform, into Scene Kit, which is the 3D gaming platform. We can actually do some 3D stuff. I've done a bit of research on it, but we're going to kind of table this one for a while until we get through the test flight and the app submission process.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to get into the code on Sprite Kit, and I think maybe the best way to show you, to get you interested in it, is to just play the app. It's pretty cool. Jody, have you heard of boxcar2d.org? You might want to check it out. So it's a randomly generated car that has physics and everything on it, and these cars evolve over time. It's really cool to check out. I'll actually just show you real quick. Let's see. And then, so what we did was a buddy of mine from San Francisco, he lives in San Francisco, he showed me this online boxcar physics engine. And he's like, I'd really like to make this in iOS. So we've done it, and I'll be showing that tonight. But I'll show you the original right now. So this is what it looks like. Car's a bit slow. My computer's a bit slow, so
No worries.
but we've got about 10 cars dropping in right there. We're going to see some of them break out, and then it'll speed up a lot faster, because right now the physics engine's trying to handle all those cars. We're watching the cars break away, and they'll go faster. So it has a car body, 2 wheels, and it goes along this terrain. The one that goes furthest goes on to the next round. So it's just kind of a fun way for us to code and have a visual output of what we're actually coding. So that's why we kind of picked this as a fun project. Okay, so I think there's a torque set on each of those wheels. So like just a standard torque that pushes each of those physics engines. And I'll go over tonight, I'll go over each piece, how it's really set up inside of Swift. Okay, so I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to dig right into the code. Okay, so I have, this is multi-peer. I'm going to show this Boxcar 2D. Not to rag on my own version of Boxcar 2D, but it's kind of dirty. So it's not a really fast running machine or fast running code. But let me just show it to you. So I'm just going to run it. And then once we see the running code, I'll go into the code and I'll go through it from the top to the bottom and ask questions.
Sorry, is that still good?
Yeah, the PLA Musubi should still work. HICap 5. I'm on it right now.
It is.
Okay, so my simulator's coming up. I'm going to just make it a bit smaller. So I'm using Command 5 to make the simulator even smaller. So I can do different sizes, yeah, if you don't know this yet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to make these this huge. I'll stick with 5. Just waiting for it. There we go. Okay, so there's the car. So now it's a randomly generated car, and so I'm going to zoom in and just kind of show you the pieces of them. So the car body is this orangey part right here, and then I have a 100 by 100 or max X 100 and min X negative 100, and then a max Y, a height of 100, and a min Y of negative 100. So that's going to be the coordinates around this. Oh man, just lost it. Coordinates around the main car body node, and then so those are randomly generated. Hey Brett, right around the car body, and then we add wheels to randomly chosen out of those 7 spokes. So I'm going to just restart this, and what we're doing is we're randomly generating a new car body and a new configuration every time. So you see how some have 2 wheels, some have 3, some have 4, and then you're always going to have kind of a different setup, yeah? And then I've put a little bit of a gas on this so we can push them along, but it's way, it's got to be balanced. So it's really janky, but I'm happy with the code. I'm happy with coming this far with it.
Yep.
So now I'm going to switch over. Does anyone have any questions about this before I switch over to the code?
No.
Okay.
How long did it take you to
This took, I pair programmed this with my buddy Nick in San Francisco, and it took us maybe about 3 hours. Yeah, right around there. But it's the strength of pair programming is 2 developers, and you're just bouncing ideas off. It's just so much faster. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to head over to the code. Zoom out a bit. Okay, so we'll start from the top, and I'll bring out File Inspector, and we're going to go straight for game. I'll go for game view controller first and go from the top. So this is all boilerplate code. I'm just bringing in, yeah, this is all boilerplate code except for this show physics. So I've just brought in this flag to show physics, and so that's just showing the bounds of the physics bodies. And that's it. So now I'm going to move over to game scene. All of this is boilerplate code when we create a new sprite kit game. Scroll to the top. And we'll just go from the top. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any. We're just going to rip through this. So, last time I outlined how we created just the regular car body. Would it be helpful if I go from the top again to show like the bird's eye view, or should I go deep into it? Okay, I'll go bird's eye view for now. Okay, so we have an array of SK sprite nodes that we've set up here, and I have 2 buttons inside. We saw the restart button and we saw the gas pedal button. So those are just being saved right inside of an array. We have a random car that's being created. So random car is actually a separate class that I've created. So the random car contains code to create the random car and also code to create the car we showed last time. And that was that SUV, the pixelated SUV that was just sitting there. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to that. How's that view? Is that clear enough? You want it a little bigger? Is that clear enough?
Good.
Okay. That's good. So I'm going to collapse my code. Get down to collapsing the code by pressing Shift, Alt, Command, left arrow. And I find this is really helpful when I have a lot of code. You'll see that, you know, right now I can just scroll top to bottom really easily. If I expand my code, then it creates a lot more lines that I have to go through. Yeah. So I'm going to collapse it again. And I'm going to go for this randomly created car body. So I'll just open it up, and I'll go from the top. Zoom in a bit so we can see. So this function returns an SK sprite node. Basically what we're doing inside of this function is we're creating a car body, we're creating random spokes, we're creating random distances outside of those spokes, and then we're creating random wheels to compose that. And then we're just returning an SK sprite node, which is the whole entire car composed. First, what I'm going to talk about is the random rotations for the spokes. And what this ended up being, it's not actually rotations, it can be positions. This is what I mentioned. We had the negative 100 and plus 100 on the X, and then a plus 100 Y and a negative 100 Y. I'm creating a maximum number of spokes. I believe it's 7 right now with a constant. Creating array of integers for the widths. I go through and create just a random integer using arc for random, cast it to an int with a max spoke position x is going to be 100. Yeah. And then on this one, I just did a little hacky thing because I wanted to put in some negative numbers in here. So whatever random number we get right here with the random integer, I check to see if it's even number. So I just use the modulus 2. If it's modulus 2 of the random int, it's going to give me 0. I know it's an even number. Does anyone want to talk about modulus at all? Yeah? Do you want to talk about it? Oh no. Anybody?
We should.
Okay.
Because it's used a lot, and people don't exactly understand what it is.
You want to talk about it, Jay?
Modulo means basically it's an integer remainder. So if it's what that statement's saying is if random modulo 2 is 0, that means if the number is if the remainder, any even number whose divided by 2, what's its remainder?
0.
Exactly.
Yeah. Has everyone got that? Okay.
And if it's odd, it won't be 0, it'll be 1.
Right. Yeah.
So any number, so when you put that random in modulo some other integer, let's say besides 2, 2 is the easiest.
Yeah.
It's the remainder. It
Right.
could be 0 if it's a multiple. If it's not a multiple, it's going to have a non-zero remainder.
Right. It'll be
Basically.
odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a question. So, if the number on the left is larger, then I can see that.
Right.
What if the number on the right is larger? Then what do you do with? Is it 0 or?
Okay. The modulo operator. Yeah. That is. Yeah. I understand what you're talking
I never
about.
seen it written anywhere. So.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Because there's somewhat undefined behavior for that, but.
Or does it not make sense to do that? I've seen it on exam. That's why I found the answer.
I think because what that module is to take that number. It actually, if that number is less remainder, if the number is not divisible by 2, it's gonna be that non-zero number. If it's less than like 1 modulo 2, for example, it's gonna be 1 because it's going to go 0 times, and the remainder is 1.
Less than 1, so it'll be 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
It'll be less than the number. I think that's
Have you ever seen negative numbers used?
It's more complicated. That we can discuss that at some other point.
So just to recap on this, we're going through 7 times in this for loop. We're creating a random integer, checking to see if it's even. If it is even, we're going to set it to a negative number. That way you get some negatives in the x-axis, yeah? I found that all the spokes were on the right side, then I had to make it negative to just spread it out a bit more. So at the end of it, we're just appending this newly created random integer to this array of widths. Yeah? Doing the exact same thing with heights, so I'm going to just skip that. Spokes with wheels, what we're doing on this one is we are creating a just a random spoke right here, an array of integers to fix it to the wheel, or to fix it to the car body. And then finally we create the car body. We're creating him at a CG point of 0 and 600, so it's kind of in the middle and really high up, so you can drop him onto the route. And then the cool thing about SpriteKit is that previously in like Cocos 2D, which a lot of iPhone developers were using like back in 2009 or so, you would have to do a lot of composition. This is what John was kind of sharing back at the last meetup, is that you used to have to do a lot of composition to figure out what the physics body would be for this picture that you're using. However, with this update with SpriteKit, now you're able to just use this image right here. This is actually just the name of an image called car body random point .png. And so it's just using this image. I'll just bring it up real quick. Car body right there. So it's just an image. And the cool thing about SpriteKit is it goes in and it looks at this image and it finds the edges of the image and creates the physics body around that image. So it's really time saving. It's pretty fantastic. So I'm going to swipe with my 2 fingers left to get back to the file I was in. It's great Xcode keyboard shortcuts. So I just mentioned the car body random point, shared how we set it at the top, and then also shared how we got the physics body around that image. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to just set up a category for this physics body so that it is the car body is in a separate kind of, I don't even know what the word is, a separate entity apart from physics entity so they can spin independent of each other. Also setting up all of these for the physics, that it allows rotation so we can have it move. Some friction set up, and then we've set up the rotation on the car. Initially it sets up like this, so we want it to come like this so it drops. So we've just put a bit of rotation on it right here. And then this is where we actually apply these pieces to the car body. I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, so has wheel with torque equals false. This flag is set here because we're going to create 3 wheels inside, and I'm sorry, 3 wheels inside of an array. And once one of those wheels has been added to the car body, we're going to be saying that's the one that we want to put torque on. So any other wheels that we add to the body, we're going to set that has wheel with torque to true. And then all the other wheels that get added won't have any torque. So I'm going to go down. This is all the same. Spokes with wheels. So here's the has wheel with torque, and then we add the wheel to spoke. So I'll just jump into this. I'm holding command. This is really next level Xcode tip. If you find a method that you do not know where it's defined or what it does inside of the method body, you just go over. You see how I just have the regular
Oh yeah, I see that.
I can hold down the command key. Changes to a little Mickey Mouse hand. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a Mickey Mouse hand to me. So holding down the command key, I can actually, I'm gonna zoom out a bit so you can see it jump. So zoom out, I'm holding down command and I'm just pressing it. It takes me directly to the definition of the method right there. And this also works in other files across your whole project. So let's say that I'm interested in finding out maybe what a sprite kit node is. I can command click on it. It takes me directly to the definition of it. Yeah. So I use this a lot when I do delegates. I can find out exactly what is required of this delegate because it's just listed right below. This is helpful.
Yes.
And then just to get back, I waste so much time trying to navigate inside the IDE that I always want to use keyboard shortcuts, and that's why every single meetup I'm going to be sharing a keyboard shortcut because it's just shaving off that cognitive load as much as possible is just so helpful. So again, the shortcut to swipe back to where we were is just a 2-finger swipe to the left to get back where we were. Any questions? Anybody?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to go back into my code. Oh, that was a random car, yeah. So I'll go back to the bottom where we had the has wheel. Add. Where were we? Okay, so here we got to the method definition. We see that if it has torque, we're going to name it wheel with torque. If it doesn't have torque on it, then I'm not saying twerk, I'm saying torque. We're going to just call it wheel. And then we're just going to add a tire to it. We do the exact same stuff with the physics bodies. And then we just, so this is just add wheel. We get out of add wheel after we return the input spoke, or I'm sorry, we add the wheel to the spoke. I'm going to go back up. And then finally, after the wheel is added to the spoke, we're going to have the return car, add the child, the spoke point, and we're going to return the car. So this return is going back into game scene, and that's how we get our random car. Any questions? And I've covered a ton of stuff. This code is also posted online at the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup GitHub organization page. So if you're interested in any of this code, I have linked it inside of the meetup.com page, so you can just download it. Okay, anybody want to take a break here, ask questions, anything? Okay, I'm just gonna check in the time real quick.
6:41.
Okay, so we got about 20 minutes. I'm just gonna rip through a bit more. We've got a random car. Created the categories so that the physics bodies are separated from each other and they can spin independently of each other. I'm just going to rip further down. This is all here. I'm using didMove right now as the function that sets up the whole scene for us. So in here you can see that I have the anchor point set, and then I create the world. The world is used to hold all of the physics bodies, so that's why we have the scene itself getting added a world to it. And then we're adding our own camera that we're connecting to the car body that moves with the car body as it moves through the world. That way you'll see that the car is always at the center of the screen. And that's because that camera is hooked to him as a child. And initialization, so I'm just checking if it's been loaded before. If it hasn't, it's going to go through all this stuff. Creating the random car, we've gone through that. I can change it up. I left the SUV inside of the random car .swift code just so we can kind of bring it back if we want to. And then the swap new random car is for when you press that reload button. This creates a new car, removes the old one from the parent, creates the new car, assigns it to car body, and then adds that car body to the world. I mentioned that the camera follows the car. This is how we get the actual position of the camera. So we kind of have to do a little bit of math in here to find out. Depending on where that node is, we want to look at the actual world coordinates, and that's how we find out where to position our camera inside of the entire world.
Right.
And I really feel like maybe the best way to just kind of make this stuff sink in, if it's not right now. I'm kind of a slow learner myself, so I need to kind of look through code, do it a bunch of times. This is where this kind of thing, once you download it, have it on your computer, just clone it on Git. You can just change settings and everything by Git if you want to.
Right.
That'd be helpful. Then I have two methods. If I just want to see the physics, I'll hide all the sprites. If I want to see those wheels and the body, I'll show the sprites. And it's just the alpha flip. And initializing the ground, we saw that wave. The ground is just going to be CG points. So it just has a nice point that we've set up, and that's what the car is on. We actually create a physics body with that line that the car goes on, and we add that to the world. The HUD has two buttons, the gas button and the restart button. We position them. We use a PNG, just an image file, to set, and then we add them to the HUD. I use HUD as a acronym for heads-up display.
Yep.
I'm sure you see it a lot in Ghost Recon, a lot of heads-up displays. The background right now is not too implemented because I'd really like to do a parallax scroll so that when the car goes, we kind of see like that cool background movement. Final method of this project is the update. This is all boilerplate up until this point. So all this stuff right here is what I've written. And so that's just going to be the center on node. It gets called every single tick of the clock inside of this project. So that's why the camera always stays in the middle. And then finally, if the car falls off of the track, well, actually, if the car is at rest, it will reset at the top. This right now is broken, just a heads up disclaimer. If you want to fix it, I'd be very happy if you did. And then finally, if the car goes off the track, I have a setting on the car body itself that if the position goes below the Y of a -1000, we just change the position of the car back to the starting point, and we change the rotation back. And then, I'm sorry, I misspoke. We finally have a touches began. So you'll see this in all boilerplate for Sprite Kit. It goes through. What we're doing is we're finding this is set for multiple touches, so we could actually track 10 touches at a time. It's going for every single touch in this loop. It's going to try to find the position of each touch, getting a location in the world, and then it's going to see for the sprites that I have in the HUD buttons. It's just an array. I want to see if that sprite frame contains the location of the touch. I want to say, and if this sprite that has been touched equals restart button, what I've named it. You can name your sprites. It's kind of like tagging.
Okay.
Then I just print out you touch the restart button, and then you swap the new car. I'm going to command click again to get right to this. And swap car, we've covered it already. We remove the car body from the parent, create a new car, set it for car body, and then add the car body back to the world. So we just finished the HUD button and the touch for restart. However, if we're actually touching, I'm going to look at this real quick. Okay, so in this code right here, I'm just trying to find the wheel, because all I want to do with the gas pedal, when you press that button, is I want to add some torque to the wheel. So in this bit of code right here, I'm looking through iterated child. I use, someone turned me on to this way of naming things when you're in a for loop, and I think it's really helpful. Usually you'll hear, or you'll read some people put index, just to find that index as they're going through. But,
like in stuff indices.
Yeah.
You got to be a little careful with that one, because in the book Advanced Swift talks about one of the subtleties about it. It's fine if you're not mutating the contents of that thing. If you mutate the content, you're going to make unnecessary copies. You got to watch out for little things like that. So it really depends on what you're doing with the array.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this one, so what Che is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Che, but what Che is saying that if you're going through an array, which is what we have right here, so we have a car body, and we've added children to that car body with the spokes and the wheels,
Right.
So what we want to do inside now is we want to go through every single node that's been added to the car body, the spokes, the wheels, and everything, and we're going through each node that it finds. We're assigning it to this name, iterated child. And throughout this whole code block now, every time I see iterated child, I know that it's going to be a child of car body. The way that this has been set up is, if you remember, we have the car body, then we have a spoke, and then we have a wheel. So what is happening is that the spoke may be a child of the car body, but the wheel is not going to necessarily be a child. It's going to be a grandchild. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now we're going too deep. So we got the iterated child from the car body's children. Now we're going into the iterated grandchild of the iterated child's children.
Okay.
Then we're going to guard to just make sure that we're not crashing it here, making sure that the iterated grandchild's name, iterated name, actually has something in it. So we're using a guard let right here.
Yeah.
This is something we're always going to be coming back to because guard let,
I love it.
all that kind of stuff is pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah, because instead of writing the if,
Yeah.
that gets, if it's getting
Handle this error, return this error.
that gets annoying really
Yeah,
quickly.
absolutely. And this is just like 2-3 lines. It's pretty simple. Then I just do some error checking to print the iterated name. You'll see it inside some of my output. You get the wheel right here, yeah? And then I just say you gas the wheels and apply some torque. So Jody, this is what we mentioned earlier about how is it pushing it along. It's just applying the torque right there in the wheel, the physics. So that's it. That's the whole car thing. I had wanted to have a bunch of cars that we could race against each other, but this multi-peer networking thing kind of...
It takes time. Maybe
Yeah.
you can table it for a later meetup.
Yeah. So I've gone through it about 7 times. Brian Advent is a great YouTube presenter. He asks for questions from his viewers, and he's creating his own iOS training tutorial courses online. But he gives so much away free on YouTube.
Right.
So this multi-peer networking, it's written in Swift 2, so or like I don't know if it's 2.2. It's like a
2.2 and then 3. After that,
Yeah.
it's 3.
So I had to do a ton of updates, and I was banging my head against the wall. Then I found another. NS Hipster is another website that has a lot of Swift code on it. And I found an updated article that uses multi-peer connectivity.
Right.
So I've done 7 times with the Brian Advent one and like 2 times with the NS Hipster one. I believe that I'm running into issues calling the delegate methods because they haven't been hooked up inside of Interface Builder. It's really it. So it's kind of minor issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can test to that one with writing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's pretty straightforward. You
Yeah.
just got to make sure that, because do you have the error does not conform to the protocol kind of stuff?
I don't know if I've seen that one yet.
It's basically because all protocols have like a function,
Yeah.
a requirement.
Yeah.
It's
The
a requirement.
minimums.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in fact, I've been using protocols in my app because I'm finding myself writing too much boilerplate. So I put,
Oh, nice.
it's a good way of, and besides, there's other objects I want to share this thing that are not related,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then use a protocol.
Yeah. And then go functional.
Yeah, I'm going to be using multiple.
Nice.
You learn by experience. Some stuff you just learn by experience.
Okay, so I went over the car. It will build to your phone, so it's fun. Anybody have questions before we move over to multi-peer?
No.
Tyler, you got a question?
No.
Okay. Let's check on the time real quick. I don't have.
6:51.
Okay, I don't have too much to share with the multi-peer. Do you guys want to see it, or do you want to have some open free time to talk about stuff?
Open free time, and then
Anybody else want open free time? Functional Swift.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
It's fine on.
Okay, so all right. Swift Coders is a great podcast. I want to check that one out. Yeah, I guess that's all I have, guys. I don't know what else you want to talk about.
Oh, sorry. The multi-peer site was Brian Advent.
Brian Advent. So it's going to be on YouTube. Just search. Oh, okay. Brian, and then his last name is Advent. I just search multiplayer. It's really like easy to listen to as well. And then pro tip, I find that, and your mileage may vary, but I find that same way when I'm reading through a book, and I've said this before, is that you only know what the book's meaning is until you get to the end of it. Yeah. So what I do usually with these YouTube tutorials is I set my playback speed at 2 times, rip through it, so I know exactly what is, I don't know exactly, but I get the bird's eye view. Then I go back to the beginning, maybe change it to 1.5 speed, 1.25, and just like rip it through every time. So
That's good.
just for what it's worth.
You can do that on YouTube?
Yeah, you can only do it on desktop though, and I think maybe with the HTML5 player.
Oh. I was looking. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And if you you press that little gear icon. Okay, you got it, John.
Thank you.
Okay. So next week we'll be talking about test flight, and the week after that we're going to be submitting an app. I've got like 5 apps I'm just like kind of hacking on, and I'm happy to just put it up on the App Store. So I'll just be using my code, and we can just kind of poke at it at the next few.
Your dad's idea, you would use Scene Kit.
Scene Kit, yeah. I was thinking, I was like, how am I going to do this with Sprite Kit? Maybe I'll just like warp the domino as it falls over, and that would push the next. But I was just like, that sounds like a headache. Then I thought about using Unity, but I was like, no, I want to keep it all iOS. And Scene Kit having 3D built in is perfect.
So is your dad gonna come and watch all our domino apps?
Maybe. I'd love to invite him over, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And then also, if you want to jam out on the multi-peer connectivity, I've also put that on the Hawaii iOS developer GitHub page as well. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Or comments or cool Swift stuff?
Oh, yes.
Oh, can we see the ad hoc, the multiplayer code, I guess?
Yeah, sure.
What was your issue that you were encountering?
It is a, I followed the tutorial a couple times, and I didn't get any kind of feedback from the app in the simulator, except for the fact that I had a view that was not connected to my view controller.
I would have to.
I'll bring it up.
So like when another iPhone connects, another view gets in, that is like.
I guess I'm not even that sure to really comment.
Okay.
On it yet.
Okay. Next time I'll bring my computer and then I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Sounds good.
I've done boneheaded stuff like that too.
Yeah. Just whatever works, right?
Yeah, whatever works.
And then you go back and clean up. So this one has a ton of delegates.
Oh yeah.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 delegates, and just maybe an overview to show how to set this stuff up. Best practices is using Mark. We went over Mark comments, to create the line, everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to show real quick how I split it up. So one of these is the MC nearby service advertiser delegate.
Oh yeah.
So move over to this guy.
And also these delegate methods are optional because. Yeah.
So I set it up right here. I got the mark. I should actually put a line right here because I like the line. And then I just have it right in here. And then another delegate method is right below that. So it's all these methods that go with the delegate. Yeah. Does everyone know what the delegate? Do you know what delegates mean? So it's kind of a bit of code that's been created for you that you can use. But in order to use that, you have use that bit of code. You need to fulfill the minimum requirements to be a delegate, to use this delegate. And so it's going to be like just a series of methods. So for example, I'm probably not making too much sense right now, Jody, but I'm just going to click into, command click into this one. So it's a delegate, yeah? This is what I mentioned earlier, that I go to the delegate inside of the code and I can see exactly what is.
They're protocols, basically.
Am I misspeaking here?
No, same thing.
Oh, okay. So we have these 2 methods that go with this delegate right here. So by using it, we're making a contract to say we have to use these 2 methods, whatever goes with it.
Same thing with protocols in general.
Is that so? Would a protocol be a language agnostic way of talking about it?
Interface in Java, it's called interfaces. The protocols are equivalent to Java interfaces. You get a set of methods that any class or structs can use. Those it doesn't have to be related.
Okay.
Like if it like any class or struct that you're dealing with and you need to use these methods, you just you're just delegating to that tool and then you implement that.
Oh, okay. You write your own implementation.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because
anybody have any questions about that?
That's still fuzzy to me.
Yeah.
It takes time to get used to concepts like this.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it takes some time getting used to it. Took me some time.
And then Tyler, I'm just gonna go finish it up real quick because you had requested it. We're advertising what kind of service we want. We name it, and then this is going to be shared with all the other devices. We create our own device name by getting UI device current name. So I named my phone, so that's what it'll show up on. So we just go in the view did load. All I'm doing here, this is all in the write-up on NSHipster. There are different ways you can do this, and that kind of complicates things. So this is another way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, feel free to just take a stab at it and just see what you can do. And then just the delegate methods, and then I'm sticking with messages. I'm not streaming, I'm not sending any files or anything. So just as simple as possible to get it to work. And I'm just cleaning along as I go. But I'm hoping to have this done because I really want to, my physics game right now that I want to do, I want to make it so that you don't need Wi-Fi, or you don't need an internet connection, and I want my niece and my nephew to be able to play this game, like just in the car or something. So that's where I'm going
cool.
with it. So that is kind of unfinished code, but it's out there. And I think we are in our time.
Yep.
So that's an Apple iOS specific connectivity.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's not Bluetooth. It's the one where you connect your TV.
Oh no, it's going to be either over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. It's an API that allows local ad hoc connectivity, either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Local,
yeah.
Not internet.
Yep.
Through internet.
So you don't have to go to anywhere else. You don't have to use anyone else's resources. You can just have like your two phones right next to each other, out camping or something.
Is that like AirPlay?
It's associated with AirPlay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar.
Yeah.
They either use Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi, or like AirPlay uses the local Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Local Wi-Fi and you can hook up through two different devices, let's say phones or whatever, through Bluetooth as well. So you can go either way.
Yeah.
So when you share contact, is that the same connection?
Depends where you get it from.
Yeah. I know. Like, are you talking about Bump? That old.
Yeah, like
app?
share contact or.
I guess I can't comment like 100%. So
Yeah.
I don't want to give you wrong information.
Yeah, I don't want to give you wrong information. It really depends.
I think it's a different API though.
Yeah.
For Swift.
Yeah. It's the API for the OS itself. Those are OS specific APIs.
Well, thank you. I'm
Sure.
going to quit my job so I can just have fun with iOS.
Yeah, I'd like to collaboratively code something so we can all kind of have some buy-in to it, and maybe just like have code takeaway that we can put up on the App Store. ourselves.
Exactly.
Your car app will go a long way, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get it piece by piece.
Yep. One step at a time, dude. And you're
Okay.
gonna have to leave.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you.